I had somebody ask me about timelines. Some people are like, I've been doing the work for blah, blah, blah amount of time. Is that normal? Or, I've been doing the work for 3 years. Is this a normal timeline for recovery? Is this bad? And this is what I'll tell you. Because timelines can be an indicator, but they can also mean nothing, or it's something that you shouldn't even think about. So what I say, this is from experience, is don't worry about the timelines and how long it fucking takes you. Everybody takes different amounts of time to recover because of how they respond and how long it takes them to, figure it out, learn the methods, practice, Everybody has a different curve, learning curve and practice curve, and sticking to things, and how disciplined are they at doing the work, and how long have they been doing the wrong work. And so it's a journey, right? You find something that doesn't work, and all of a sudden somebody comes in your life and goes, no, take that out, do this, and stick to this, and you will have your path to recovery. But even then, it takes time. So what I would say is, don't worry about the timelines or how long it takes to recover. It takes you 3 years or 5 years, right? As long, this is the key thing. As long as you're moving forward. So if you notice that something that used to trigger you, let's say when you started the recovery program, let's say you started it 2.5 years ago, does that thought still trigger you, the thoughts that you had back then? What percentage of thoughts back then still trigger you? And if they still do, that means that technically the timeline is irrelevant. It's just that you've been doing it wrong, right? When people do things wrong, they could be stuck for 20 years, 30 years, all their lives, right? This is also physically, not just mentally. They could have histamine intolerance for all their lives because they're using coping mechanisms, right? So timelines don't really make sense. And somebody who's found the proper methods could be free within 1 year. So then people look at that and go, they compare. But it's not a good comparison because one person has the wrong information and one person has the right information. So there is that factor. But then there's also the factor of, okay, let's say you had all the right information from the beginning and you're doing the program, you're doing it every day. So how do you know if your timeline is normal? And like I said, it all depends on how strict you are, how many mistakes you make, how many times you get uncomfortable. If you're doing your exposure, different exposure activities. Because when things started to click for me, I was doing all kinds of different forms of exposure constantly, and I was triggered and I felt like shit. I took 4 steps back, right? Everything got worse before it got better. But my recovery timeline was a lot shorter and I recovered a lot quicker. I was lapping people like really fast. And that's how you know. If something that triggered you 2 months ago or 3 months ago doesn't trigger you anymore, then that's all that matters. And if it takes you 3 years or 4 years to recover, that's fine. As long as you're moving forward and improving, and triggers start to go away one at a time. Alarms start to turn off one at a time. And if it takes a little longer to turn off an alarm, who gives a shit? As long as the alarm gets turned off. Not like other people. All the alarms are still on after 10 years, 5 years, 3 years. Then yes, they've been running these alarms way too long because they've been doing the wrong methods. But when you're doing the right methods, take out the timeline. because it's irrelevant. You will recover when it's your time to recover. People work through the methods at their own time. As long as you notice that you are recovering, because you can tell. You know, bring up an old trigger or a thought or a symptom and go, am I still dealing with it? Is it still scare me? Is it still trigger me? Am I still avoiding it? Am I? If you are, you're doing the wrong method, and that should tell you, oh, I've been doing the wrong method for too long. That's your timeline. That should be your indicator. Shit. Right? When people talk to me, oh, I still get triggers after 3 years. Oh my goodness. That tells me they've been doing the wrong method for too long. Then I tell them, yeah, that's too long to have those triggers still. You haven't been doing the right work. So in that way, that makes sense. But somebody said, you know, I've been doing this work for 4 years. I'll be like, okay, well, are you still triggering about the same things you were triggering about 2 years ago? Maybe half of them. The other half, not really. I don't care. And half the symptoms went away. I'm able to do certain things. I'm able to live my life still. That I wasn't before. I wasn't able to live my life. I'm going to work now. Okay. Then you're doing the right work. Then don't worry about how long it takes you. If it takes you another 2 years, so be it. So that's when you take the timeline out. Because if you keep running for recovery and saying recovered, when I'm recovered, recovery, that actually keeps you out of recovery. Because your brain is seeing this and monitoring this and going, recovery from what? Oh, you mean you're saying that you're not recovered yet? So we're still running alarms then. Okay. Yeah, but until I get recovered, that's when I'll go to that trip. Or once I'm recovered, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. So the brain sees that and goes, okay, well, we're still in danger. We're still in survival mode. Let's keep those alarms running. Let's keep the alarms running. Let's keep those symptoms going. Let's get those OCD thoughts looping still. Let's give her some doubt just in case, because she's saying we're still in danger. So what you need to do is live life fully, bring the symptoms with you, and recovery will chase you, and it'll come without you even noticing it. You won't even notice that you're recovered. Don't wait to live life until you're recovered. Live life first, and recovery will come as a consequence. And just understand this. Recovery doesn't mean that all symptoms are gone. Recovery means that you're living life fully, even though you have symptoms still hanging around. You know, some of them, take a while they still hang around until they are 100% sure that you're okay with them being there, that you're fully allowing them, that you're indifferent to them. That's when they lift. Not when you keep questioning, why is that one symptom still there? Then it's going to hang around. Well, then obviously you're not allowing it. Obviously you're still resisting it. So the brain sees that and goes, oh, keep that alarm on because it seems like she's resisting something. She's resisting what? Danger? Yeah, keep that on. Recovery, another thing, all it means is that you've gone back to a time before the symptoms started to boil over, before they started to fly in like crazy. But do you really want to be in the state that you were right before you got sick? Just barely underneath the surface? Do you want to be that person? Or do you want to empty the bucket fully? Do you want to be out of that, underneath that surface? You want to be like right down to the bottom. You want to take out that, you want to restore. We don't want to recover, we want to restore. Back to factory settings. And then you got to keep going. Don't stop doing the methods just because some symptoms went away. Keep going. Do it for the rest of your life. So that you don't have to be in a position to, oh my goodness, I'm ill again. It came back. Well, because you didn't keep doing the work. You just did enough. And then the symptoms came back. Because life, guess what, will bring you curveballs. And it will trigger your limbic system to go up again. But yeah, if you haven't fully changed a full new program, it won't be able to handle the little stresses that you have. And then you're back at the same problem. Right? You were just coping in a way. So why not empty your bucket fully? Why not run a new program that's strong so you can handle the curveballs with ease, right? And then you go back down to 0. In my case, back down to 5, -5, -10. So, when people ask me, is this normal for me to be sick this long and have symptoms take this long? Well, if you ask yourself the questions that I mentioned, you'll know. You know yourself.